Concerns are growing within the Iranian leadership that a possible US strike could lead not to the consolidation of society, but to a new surge in mass protests and threaten the stability of power. Reuters reported this, citing 6 current and former Iranian officials familiar with the situation. According to sources, senior government officials warned Iran's supreme leader Ali Khamenei in closed meetings that public discontent following the January crackdown had reached a critical level. The suppression of anti-government protests last month, the bloodiest since the 1979 Islamic Revolution, they believe, has destroyed the main restraining factor: fear. Officials told Khamenei that a significant portion of the population is ready to confront security forces again, and external pressure, including even a limited US strike, could embolden the protesters. According to one source, the combination of external attacks and street protests could lead to the collapse of the ruling system, which is allegedly what the Islamic Republic's opponents are seeking. These admissions reflect underlying fears within the Iranian establishment and stand in stark contrast to Tehran's public rhetoric, which projects confidence and toughness toward both the protesters and Washington. Sources declined to specify how Khamenei responded to such warnings. Iran's foreign ministry did not respond to Reuters' request for comment. Concerns are growing amid discussions in the United States about possible action against Iran. Reuters previously reported that US President Donald Trump was considering targeting strikes against security forces and key regime figures to increase pressure on Tehran. Meanwhile, Israeli and Arab officials have indicated that airstrikes alone are insufficient to overthrow the clerical regime. Former Iranian officials and opposition figures are also warning of growing public anger amid the January events. Former Prime Minister Mir Hossein Mousavi, who has been under house arrest since 2011, stated that the bloodshed of protesters would inevitably change the course of history and that society no longer accepts the existing system. Human rights activists and eyewitnesses claim that security forces used lethal force during the January protests, resulting in the deaths of thousands. Iranian authorities blamed the violence on armed terrorists, allegedly linked to Israel and the United States. Analysts note that despite the relative calm on the streets, the underlying cause of discontent remain: economic decline, political repression, corruption, and growing social inequality are creating an atmosphere in which a new uprising could flare up with even greater force, especially in the event of an external attack. Iranians interviewed by Reuters say they expect a harsh government response to any new protests. One Tehran resident who lost his 15-year-old son during the January protests said that if the US strikes, he will take to the streets again because, in his words, people have nothing left to lose. In this case, expectations are growing in Israeli political and security circles of a possible military escalation by the United States amid protracted contacts with Iran. Senior Israeli sources believe that if negotiations fail again, the American president may resort to military action. These assessments are being voiced on the eve of a meeting between Israeli leaders and Donald Trump's envoy, who is expected to arrive for consultations. According to the interlocutors, Jerusalem is drawing on previous experience when dialogue with Tehran ended without results due to fundamental disagreements between the parties. Sources note that without progress, the diplomatic track could be ultimately exhausted. In this case, Israel believes the White House could rely on force as its primary tool for influencing Iran.
Iran's president says he has instructed the country's foreign minister to pursue fair and equitable negotiations with the United States. According to Associated Press, the comments on Tuesday from reformist President Masoud Pezeshkian represent the first clear signal from Iran that it may take part in negotiations being organized by Turkey. Posting on X, Pezeshkian wrote, "I have instructed my Minister of Foreign Affairs, provided that a suitable environment exists, one free from threats and unreasonable expectations, to pursue fair and equitable negotiations, guided by the principles of dignity, prudence, and expediency. The U.S. has yet to acknowledge the talks will take place.
Iran's president has ordered his country's foreign minister to hold talks with the United States. This move by Masoud Pezeshkian comes as tensions are very high between Washington and Tehran. That's because of Iran's bloody crackdown on nationwide protests last month that are believed to have killed thousands of people. Now, Pezeshkian said he had ordered Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi to have these talks. He said that they would be conducted if they could be in a fair manner and in a site that would be also fair to the Iranians. Now, Turkey has been working behind the scenes to set these talks up, and if they happen, they would likely see Araghchi meet again with U.S. Special Envoy to the Middle East, Steve Witkoff. Those two men had multiple rounds of negotiations over Iran's nuclear program before Israel launched its 12-day war on Iran back in June. Now, during that war, the United States also bombed Iranian nuclear sites. Whether or not these talks bear fruit, it's unclear. There's a lot of difference between the Iranian position and the American position. But one thing is for certain, that the fact that Pezeshkian has come out signals that Iran's supreme leader, the 86-year-old Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, has blessed these talks moving forward. That's a big sign, and it shows just how important it is for Iran to reach some sort of negotiated understanding with Washington. Already, U.S. officials have described Iran as being in one of the weakest positions it's ever been after the demonstrations since its 1979 Islamic Revolution.
هدف چه بود؟ هدف این بود که تعداد کشته‌ها در صحنه تظاهرات افزایش پیدا بکنه. چرا؟ چون آقای ترامپ رئیس جمهور آمریکا گفته بود که اگر که مخالف اقدامات قهرآمیز، اقدامات یکجانبه و تحریم‌های یکجانبه آمریکا هستند استقبال می‌کنیم. گروهی تحت عنوان دوستان منشور با همین هدف در سازمان ملل شکل گرفته. ایران، روسیه، چین و تعدادی از کشورهای دیگه عضو هم.
But we're looking at it very seriously. The military is looking at it, and we're looking at some very strong options. We'll make a determination.